afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 63 of Swiss Army Sports. Today is May 18th in the Big 26. No chaser today. He's moving in the process to moving to Atlanta. On this Monday episode, I'm your host, Will Spain, former long snapper for the Troy Trojans, Ospey Governors, and partially Houston Cougars, joined by my side, former offensive lineman for the Hendrick College Warriors, current man of electricity, Luke the Duke Wallman. Let's dive right into it. The agenda today, the college baseball picks of the week from last week. It was the final week. We have our recap. We have our final leaderboard. You know what? We did it. We did it. Man, Luke.
Didn't come in last.
Yes. Yes. College baseball conference tournament picks. We picked the top 5 conferences in RPI. Their baseball tournaments. NHL playoff look-in. NBA playoff look-in. MLB power rankings. MLB duties for last week. MVP Rousey versus Carano recap. And if I have ever seen a main event that has been fixed, it was in that Netflix card. Whew. That was, it didn't even feel real. Chase Talks Footy is obviously being postponed. Swiss Army 5, top 5 animated TV shows, and then best of the weekend. Let's just get right into it. Bama 2, Ole Miss 1. Bama won the rubber match on Saturday to take the series. Everybody was on Bama except Big Mike, the producer,
Which I'm not going to slander too bad, but outside of maybe the Bama Ole Miss, he should have flip-flopped on one of these crappy teams instead of doing the USC Oregon, and both the good teams. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he definitely could have been played a little bit differently from the producer trying to get back up. He did miss on that one. He hit on A&M, though. Everybody else was on State. And State, frankly, kind of choked again. And lost that Saturday game in which they were leading into the 8th inning. Lost it and gave A&M the win, which made the picks interesting. If State would have won that, it would have been hammer, nail, coffin. But it was not the producer, the only one to pick A&M. Everybody else was on State. Georgia won the first 2 games of the series. Auburn got the third one on Saturday.
I'm pretty sure it was bad, too.
It was.
I'm pretty sure they beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. It was pretty ugly. And then I think Auburn went and stomped the crap out of them like in the third game. SEC baseball, man. Luke and Michael were on Georgia. Me and Chase were on the Tigers of Auburn. We split that. Everybody was on Georgia Tech. They crushed Boston College. Everybody except the producer was on Oregon. Oregon in a thriller.
Walk-off
safety squeeze in the, I believe, the 11th to win the series against USC, which was the hammer in the coffin for the producer. Everybody was on Michigan. They got swept by Ohio State. That was kind of a huge surprise to, I think, everybody in the baseball world. And then Creighton lost 2 out of 3 against Xavier. So our final leaderboard is as follows. Luke won the college baseball picks. 48-25 was his record. Chaser came in second at 46-27. I was in third at 45-28. But what's most importantly, joining us for the 999 challenge is the producer, Michael. 43-30. He is coming in last and will be joining us at a Memphis Rippers game on a Thursday afternoon.
I'm very interested to see how many hot dogs he's actually going to be able to eat.
I'm setting the over-under for me. 8.5 beers.
Okay.
4.5 hot dogs. Hot dogs is what's going to get me.
I am completing this challenge. I
have no doubt about it. Here's the thing, though. I love the pod, but I'm not making myself sick for the pod. I will get pissed drunk for the pod, but I'm not going to make myself sick.
I'm actually more worried about the beer than the hot dogs. I think I'm going to – well, hold on. This is going to sound a little weird. It depends on what size the hot dog is. If it's just like
if it's a big, girthy dog, you're going to have some problems.
I know. It's like over just a normal – what is it, like 6 inches of a normal hot dog?
6 inches? An average hot dog.
Yeah. It's like – it's a foot long. No, a foot. That just got us 2. I mean, it depends on how big.
Yeah, I agree.
How beefy the buns are, but I'm ready.
Y'all hear that, ladies and gentlemen? This man is ready to take down some girthy dogs and some beefy buns.
I'm literally gonna fast that day at work.
I might have to as well. Let's get into the college baseball conference tournament picks. ACC, I've got NC State taking out Duke in the first round for the ACC. I've got Stanford taking out Cal. Clemson, the 15th seed, taking out Notre Dame. I thought that was kind of obvious, even though for the lopsided seating there, Clemson's had a rough year. And then Louisville taking down Pitt. I am a big believer, at least in baseball, that Mo carries over and playing that first game helps occasionally. So I've got NC State taking down 8-seeded Virginia. I do have Miami beating 12-seeded Stanford. I do have Clemson beating Virginia Tech, the 15 over the 7, and I do have Wake Forest over Louisville, the 6 over the 11. I then have Georgia Tech beating NC State 1 over 9. I think Georgia Tech's clear cut the best team in this conference, best power, best staff. I've got Miami beating Boston College. I think Boston College had a couple of good runs in the ACC, but I do think Miami is the better overall club. I've got North Carolina ending Clemson's run, the 2 over the 15, and I got Florida State beating Wake Forest, an absolute thriller. Sets up a really good semifinals for me. I've got Georgia Tech beating Miami. I think Georgia Tech's the best overall team. I got Florida State beating North Carolina. I'm a big believer in this Knowles team, but I do think Georgia Tech is the best team in the ACC, and they will win the conference tournament. Luke, how do you see it?
Yeah, I was kind of shocked to see Duke this bad because usually they're
decent.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're usually in the tournament, so I do have NC State advancing over them. I've got Stanford advancing over Cal. I'm kind of with you here. I've got Clemson winning multiple games. I got them first beating Notre Dame. I also think it's kind of the pedigree with Clemson baseball too. It's like usually they are in the tournament, and I just kind of a gut feeling they just beat Coastal a few weeks ago. Now Coastal completely fell off a cliff, but they've been playing better baseball as of late. Then I got Louisville over Pitt. I've got Virginia actually beating NC State. I've got Miami beating Stanford. I've got Clemson winning another game versus Virginia Tech. They did just lose a series to Virginia Tech, so the kind of logic is they're not going to lose back-to-back series. And it was in at Virginia Tech. So is this playing like Greensboro or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So they're going to be more of a home game for Clemson. Then I got Wake Forest beating Louisville. I've got Florida State beating Wake Forest, and then Clemson's run coming to an end for North Carolina. I got Boston College beating Miami. I got Georgia Tech beating Virginia and then beating Boston College. I've got North Carolina with the chalk final versus Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech with the best lineup in America being your ACC champions.
Chaser has it NC State over Duke, Stanford over Cal, Clemson over Notre Dame. Popular pick here with the 15-seed Clemson. And Louisville over Pitt. He then has Virginia over NC State, Miami over Stanford, Virginia Tech over Clemson, and Wake Forest over Louisville. Over to the quarters, he has Georgia Tech over Virginia, Boston College over Miami, North Carolina over Virginia Tech, and Florida State over Wake Forest for a chalk Final Four where he has Georgia Tech meeting Florida State in the final and Georgia Tech winning it all. We now move over to the Big Ten in one of the funkiest brackets I have seen.
Shout out Will. I would have been lost.
Yeah, no, 100%. So it's broken into like three segments, but 4 qualifiers, or 2 segments, but 4 qualifiers. You get a qualifier out of the winner's bracket and then a qualifier out of the loser's bracket. So for the first segment, I've got Purdue beating Michigan State 5 over 12. I've got Iowa over Illinois 8 over 9. And then in the loser section of that, I've got Illinois over Michigan State 9 over 12. I do have Purdue over Iowa in the winner segment to qualify to play number 4 USC. I've got Iowa over Illinois to qualify to play number 1 UCLA. On the bottom half, I've got Michigan over Rutgers 7 over 10. Ohio State over Washington 6 over 11. I have Rutgers over Washington 10 over 11 in the loser segment. I have Michigan over Ohio State because God forbid they're going to lose 4 games in a row to the Ohio State Buckeyes, to qualify to play number I think I actually messed that up. I think they would actually play number 3 Oregon. Let's see if I messed this up or not.
No, that's right.
You sure? Because I felt like
that might be wrong. Or do they reseed after?
Yes, it is wrong. I am wrong on that.
Damn it! Well, I'm wrong on that too.
That's all right.
Well,
please excuse these technical difficulties here.
You're going to have to go adjust here. Let me adjust it. You can go back out. You keep reading. I'll adjust it.
Screw you, Big Ten. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and then, that. Okay. I'll grab Oregon. You slide down Michigan. Bingo. All right.
Well, I got to put number 2 Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. Completely changes the ballgame there.
Not really. No, Nebraska.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. I've actually got number 2 Nebraska playing number 6 Ohio State. And I've got number 3 Oregon playing number 7 Michigan. Screw the Big Ten for this bracket, by the way. All right. We're back to the actual bracket segment. I've got 4 UFC over 5 Purdue. I've got 1 UCLA over 8 Iowa. I've got 2 Nebraska over 6 Ohio State. And I've got 3 Oregon over 7 Michigan. Chalk. I then have 1 UCLA over USC. I've got 3 Oregon over 2 Nebraska. This is a good, hot Oregon team. But I do think UCLA is the best team in the Big Ten, so I've got them winning it all. Luke, how do you see it?
So I got Purdue beating little brother. I got Iowa beating Illinois. Then in that loser bracket section, I've got Illinois beating Michigan State, and then Illinois beating Iowa.
Okay.
Because you could probably test this. Don't keep up with the low tier Big Ten teams too much.
No, I had to do a little RPI research. That's about it.
So I was like, I don't think they're going to win like back to back over the same team. So Illinois is going to end up advancing. Then I got Michigan beating Rutgers, Ohio State beating Washington. And then I've got Michigan beating Ohio State. And I've got, in the loser section, I've got Rutgers playing Washington where Washington wins. And I've got Ohio State advancing to that winner section. I've got USC beating Purdue in the actual bracket, UCLA beating Illinois. I've got now Nebraska beating Ohio State. And I've got Michigan beating Oregon, which they've already done this year in Eugene. It's a complete faith. They're like the last team in, so I would like them to just go on a little bit of a run.
Yeah, actually, as a Troy guy, I need Michigan to not go on a little bit of a run. So we are on the first 5 out.
Yeah, I looked on the website, some people on baseball website. We're the last team in, y'all are the first team out.
Yeah, no, I hope Michigan gets bounced.
Yes, I got them beating Oregon, and then I've got them to beat Nebraska, and then I've got them getting absolutely annihilated by UCLA because realism is kind of there.
See how Chaser sees it. He's got Purdue over Michigan State and Iowa over Illinois, and then Purdue over Iowa down to the loser segment. He's got Illinois over Michigan State and Illinois over Iowa, qualifying Purdue and Illinois to the actual bracket. He's got Michigan over Rutgers and Ohio State over Washington with Michigan over Ohio State. He then has Rutgers over Washington and Ohio State over Rutgers, so he has the same bracket as you, where he has USC over Purdue, UCLA over Illinois, Nebraska over Ohio State, and Oregon over Michigan. He then has a UCLA-Oregon final where UCLA wins it all. That's a pretty good bracket, in my opinion. Over to the Big 12, way less complicated.
Yeah, thank you, Big 12. Shout out.
Shout out. I've got Texas. I mean, just something about Texas Tech being the 12 seed. This tournament's in Texas. I'm pretty sure they played at the Ranger Stadium. So at least they did last year. I just couldn't pick a Utah baseball team to beat Texas Tech. So I've got Texas Tech over BYU as the 12 seed over the 9. I've got Utah over K-State, 10 over 11. I then have Baylor over Texas Tech, 8 over 12, and then TCU over Utah, 7 over 10. This is where I kind of get a little funky, I guess.
Cut you off. Sorry, it's in Arizona.
It's in Arizona this year. Wow. Okay, it makes me feel way better about my pick, actually. Only the top 12 teams of the Big 12 qualified. You won't see Houston or Arizona. I've got UCF over Oklahoma State, 4 over 5. I've got Kansas over Baylor, 1 over 8. I've got West Virginia over TCU, 2 over 7. I've got Arizona State over Cincinnati, 3 over 6. And then you got UCF upsetting Kansas 4-1. I'm not a huge believer in this Kansas team. And UCF does have some powerful stuff in their lineup. I've got Arizona State over West Virginia. Arizona State's, I think, the best overall Big 12 team, who I have winning the whole tournament, which is Arizona State. Now that I know it's in Arizona, I feel even better about that. Luke, how do you see it?
So I've got the Storm and Mormons beating Texas Tech. I've got Utah beating Kansas State. I've got TCU advancing to play West Virginia, and then I've got Baylor advancing to play Kansas. I've got Oklahoma State actually beating UCF. I'm a believer in the holidays, so why not? I got Kansas beating Baylor and ultimately beating Oklahoma State to go to the final. I'm not a believer of this Kansas team either. I just think they're the number 1 seed for a reason. I do think they'll be able to get to the final. I've got West Virginia beating TCU, and I've got Arizona State beating Cincinnati. And I think this is the championship game. I think whoever comes out of this bottom side is going to end up winning it. I've got Arizona State. They've got the bats. They've got one of the best players in college baseball this year. And I've got them ultimately beating Kansas.
Shout out West Virginia, J.J. Weatherholt.
Yes.
Chaser, has it Texas Tech over BYU, 12/9. Utah over K-State, 10/11. Then has Texas Tech upsetting Baylor, 12/8. And he has TCU beating Utah, 7/10. He also has UCF over Oklahoma State, 4/5. He has Kansas over Texas Tech, 1/12. He has TCU upsetting West Virginia, 7/2. And Arizona State taking down Cincinnati, 3/6. He then has UCF advancing to play Arizona State, as I did in the final, and has UCF winning the entire thing in the Big 12. Over to the Fun Belt, the 5th-ranked conference in the country. I had to change the font because the way the Sun Belt released this bracket in this yellow font is awful. Awful. It is unreadable. So in this first round, you can barely see it.
Oh, God.
Old Dominion plays Georgia State and as the 8-9, and then it is Marshall, Louisiana, 7 Louisiana, 10 Marshall in the first round. That is a one and done. That's the only part of the bracket that's a one and done. Except the Final Four, I believe. The Final Four, you don't have to like beat the guy twice. It's weird if you're coming out of the losers bracket. I think that's complete horse crap. But
it doesn't reset.
Well, it does. It resets as soon as you make it to the Final Four. It resets and it's single elimination.
Yeah, I can. Okay.
Which
I think if anything, well, I don't know.
Anyways,
I think if anything, you could play a series, but
yeah. I've got Southern Miss over Old Dominion, 1/8. I've got Troy over the team down south, 4/5. I've got Troy over Southern Miss to advance to the semifinals. In the losers side of that bracket, I have South Al beating Old Dominion, 5/8. I have Southern Miss taking care of South Al, 1/5 to face the Trojans, where I have Troy advancing to the Sun Belt Championship game. Imagine that. I've got Texas State over App State, actually. Like I was telling Luke, I think 1 through 7 here in the Sun Belt can beat just about anybody in a given game. That's a very talented conference. I've got Texas State over App State, 6/3. I've got Coastal in a narrow one. They just lost to Syracuse, Louisiana. So I've got Coastal in a narrow one over Louisiana, 2/7. I then have Coastal over Texas State to advance to the semifinals, 2/6. I have App State beating Louisiana, 3/7 to face Texas State. They will not lose twice. I have them beating Texas State, 3/6 to face up a 1-4, 2-3 chalk-ish Final Four, where I have Troy beating Southern Miss again to advance to the championship game. I then have Coastal beating App State for a Troy Coastal championship, where Troy is going to win the Sun Belt Conference. Luke, how do you see it?
So I've got Texas State, or I've got App State beating Texas State, and then I've got Coastal Carolina beating Louisiana. I've got Southern Miss beating Old Dominion. Or let me just go left to right.
Yeah, there.
I got Louisiana then beating Texas State, knocking them out. I've got Coastal Carolina beating App State playing Louisiana, and I've got Louisiana advancing to the Final Four. On the other side, I've got Southern Miss beating Old Dominion. I've got Troy beating South, and I've got Southern Miss advancing to the Final Four in that part. Then I've got South beating Old Dominion, Troy beating South, and a Final Four of Coastal, Louisiana, Southern, and Troy, where I've got Southern Miss beating Troy, and I've got Coastal Carolina beating Louisiana, and Southern Miss getting their supers potential host.
Potential super host. Yep.
Yeah.
Chaser has it. Old Dominion playing Southern Miss, where Southern Miss winning. He has Troy over South Alabama, and then has Troy over Southern Miss to complete 1/2 of that Final Four in the right side of the bracket. On the bottom side, he has South Alabama beating Old Dominion in the loser side, who will eventually lose to Southern Miss, completing that half of the semifinal with Troy versus Southern Miss. On the other half, he has Texas State also beating App State, Coastal beating Louisiana, and then Coastal beating Texas State to complete our third semifinalist. He then has App State over Louisiana, Texas State beating App State again, and then that completes the Final Four with number 2 Coastal against number 6 Texas State, number 4 Troy against number 1 Southern Miss. He then has Southern Miss beating Troy, Coastal beating Texas State, and then Southern Miss winning the Sun Belt Conference.
See, I think for Troy, I think that would be best.
If we lost the first one and then won the second, yeah, I agree.
But I mean, yeah. But before we get to the SEC, I will say that we need Michigan and Troy, need NC State, ECU, Kentucky, just all to lose their first game and then to win a few games.
Yep.
So
okay,
it's
doable.
Yeah, it's totally doable.
Totally doable. Especially with the way I'm about to read this. SEC, I will be boots on ground for the first 2 days. I will not be there for the first segment of the first round, the Ole Miss, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, but I will be there for segments 2, 3, and 4. I've got Ole Miss over Missouri to go on to face Mississippi State. I've got Vandy helping out the Blue and the Trojans by beating the Kentucky Wildcats. I've got Tennessee over South Carolina and number 14 LSU over 11 Oklahoma. I then have 9 Ole Miss losing to number 8 Mississippi State for the 5th time this year. I've got Vandy beating Florida. I can't not trust this Florida team worth anything, and Vandy has a lot to play for. They had to win the tournament basically to get in. I've got Arkansas, number 7 over Tennessee. I've got 6 Auburn over 14 LSU. Then in the quarters, I've got 8 Mississippi State. They're not going to lose 4 times to Georgia. And 6 Auburn over 3 Texas A&M. Auburn did win that series earlier in the year. I then have 8 Mississippi State beating Alabama. Can't trust Alabama away from Tuscaloosa. I've got Texas over Auburn, and then Mississippi State getting revenge for the series they choked against Texas and winning the SEC baseball tournament. And now that you think about it, it makes complete and total sense that this could happen. It is not just me homing. It is a little bit of me homing, but it could happen the way I like the way it's set up for State. So
yeah. You just got to get past Georgia.
Just got to get past Georgia. Well, you got to get past Ole Miss, too, but I don't want to overwrite the Rebs, but I would love to overwrite the Rebs. Luke, how do you see the SEC?
So I've got Ole Miss beating Missouri. I've got Vandy helping out both of our teams and beating Kentucky. I've got Tennessee beating South Carolina, and then I've got Oklahoma beating LSU. I think LSU has been abysmal, and I'm not.
Dude, the way those LSU fans travel to the SEC baseball tournament, I had to ride with LSU.
That's true, but then I've got Mississippi State beating Ole Miss. I've got Florida beating Vandy. And, I mean, Tennessee's been playing pretty well, but I just think Arkansas has also been playing very well. So I'm going to go with Arkansas over Tennessee. Then I've got Auburn over Oklahoma. I've got A&M winning against Auburn. And then I've got Texas beating Arkansas. I've got Florida. Now, we've seen Florida's untrustworthiness all year, but I think when they play good teams, they kind of show up. So I've got Florida beating Bama, and then I've got Georgia beating State. I've got Florida beating Georgia to go to the final.
Wow.
And I've got Texas beating Texas A&M, getting some revenge, and Texas is your SEC champion.
We'll see how Chaser sees it. He's got Ole Miss over Missouri. He's got Vandy over Kentucky, Tennessee over South Carolina, and LSU over Oklahoma. He then has State over Ole Miss, Florida over Vandy, Arkansas over Tennessee, and Auburn over LSU in the quarterfinals. He then has Georgia over Mississippi State, Florida over Alabama. He's in agreement with you there. Texas over Arkansas and Auburn over A&M. He then has Texas beating Auburn and Georgia beating Florida to set up a 1-2 final, Georgia and Texas, where he has Texas winning the entire thing.
Yeah, I also could not pick Georgia strictly because I had too much chalk stuff. It's some of these, with UCLA and Georgia Tech, there's too many 1 seeds winning. So
NHL playoffs. Since we last talked, we have had one series conclude. The Vegas Golden Knights got it done in 6. The least lucky game they had. They dominated it.
Between the legs goal was freaking sweet.
Mitch Marner, dude, I told you he's hot. So that sets up a Colorado-Vegas Western Conference Final. We will have the conference finals decided tonight. So that's what I'm going to spend a little bit of time on. Game 7 in Buffalo. We have seen this story before. Montreal poised to finish the game at the Bell Center, and they got blown out by Buffalo 8-3.
That's a nice way of putting it.
And by the way, this is a game Montreal was up 3-1. Buffalo scored 7 unanswered. You know what that makes me think? I am hammering the Montreal Canadiens tonight. They are going to win Game 7 in Buffalo. It's going to be
possibly the over.
No, the over. Actually, Hockey Trends would say this is an under game. But I'm going to go with the Habs 4-2 over the Buffalo Sabres. I think they will go on to face the Carolina Hurricanes. I trust this Montreal team too much. Luke, how do you see Game 7 going tonight?
I'm riding with Buffalo, and I think it's going to be 3-2. So I think it's a very close game. Buffalo's going to score a goal late, end up win the series.
All right, so let's talk conference finals. Colorado, Vegas, Buffalo, Carolina. Or Montreal, Carolina. I will just say this. I'm going to go with, a little asterisk here. If Montreal wins, I have the Habs winning another 7-game series and going to the Stanley Cup final. If Buffalo wins, I've got Carolina in 5. How do you see these conferences?
All right. I think if Montreal wins, I'll go with I'm going to go with Carolina in 7. If Buffalo wins, I'm going to go Carolina in 6.
Okay.
So
on the Western side, I think this is a quick series. Yeah. I think Colorado wins in 5.
Yeah, I agree. I think Colorado is so dominant, and Vegas, I just kind of hate Vegas. And
Yeah. Look, Luke's become a hockey fan. He hates Vegas now, which it makes sense. I mean, it's screw the Knights. All right. And we'll talk about the final when it happens. NBA playoffs. We have our conference finals. Thunder Spurs on the West, 1-2. Cavs Knicks 4-3 on the East. Let's start on the Western side. Y'all talked me into it. I've got the Spurs in 6. I don't think they have any defense for Wembanyama. He is going to be an absolute animal in this series. They have been unable to beat the Spurs in the regular season. Give me San Antonio in 6 to advance to the NBA Finals. How do you see the Western Conference going?
I completely agree. I think it's Spurs in 6. I could definitely see Spurs in 7 as well. This is going to be a long series. I just don't think Chet is going to be able to even contend with Victor Wembanyama. And apparently, found this out today, they have a little bit of rivalry dating back to like the U17 stuff when the French played the U.S. And apparently, I wouldn't say him and Chet got into it, but him and Chet did exchange some words. So I do know the Spurs are 3-1 against the Thunder this year. The one loss was both teams kind of just played their rotation guys. No big stars were playing. It's kind of a rest sort of deal. So I do think the Spurs are going to win this thing in 6. I do not think the Thunder are going back to back. The NBA is rigged. They're going to want bigger markets in the finals after last year's historically low viewership.
Yeah, that's why we got the Knicks also in 6. I think this is a good Cavs team. I think they showed that with a 7-game win over Detroit. However, I think this New York team, 1 is red hot, 2 huge market for the NBA, and I think a Knicks Spurs final would be somewhat entertaining, and I could watch a game. So we'll see. But I've got the Knicks in 6. How do you see it?
Yeah, I've got the Knicks actually in 7. I think this is literally just going to be the home team wins every time. We have seen, usually we have seen Cleveland did something. I thought they were going to lose the series after they lost that game 6, but somehow they went and won on the road again in dominant fashion to beat the Pistons. But I think this is just a series where the home team usually wins. I could easily see this thing going Knicks in 5, though, because of how well the Knicks have been playing this playoffs. And Donovan Mitchell has got to show up for the Cavs. He did not show up multiple times in that series, and he kind of got bailed out by Max Strus, Sam Merrill, Jared Allen. He's got to be that dude they're paying him to be. It can't be the James Harden show either. He's got to be that dude. And if he doesn't play well like he did in a bunch of these Pistons games, this could easily be a Knicks in 5.
MLB Power Rankings. I've got the Braves still at 1. I just think they're the best overall team in MLB. I've still got the Rays at 2. The Rays keep winning. Small ball works. The Dodgers have moved up to 3 for me. They've looked much better in this past week. They're starting to get back into form. The Brewers in 4. The NL Central stacked, so it really could be any of these NL Central teams 4 or 5. But obviously, I'm taking the tarps off boys at 5. The St. Louis Cardinals 6-4 in their last 10, continue to win games. Lineup looks great. Pitching coming together. Rotation. Starting rotation looks great. The relievers are starting to get into form. I am in love with this Cardinals team as I'm a Cardinals fan, but I'm starting to believe, Luke. I don't know about you. How do you have your top 5?
Well, I'm going to say this. I believe it so bad. I put Ted on Oliver Marmol to win NL Manager of the Year because, if they go to the playoffs or if they are fighting for the wild card, they miss it by a game, he will get NL Manager of the Year strictly because unless some team breaks some ridiculous record, he will get an NL Manager of the Year strictly because of how bad they were supposed to be. But mine's unchanged. I think most of the MLB has been pretty just average this week. You could have slid the Guardians or the Phillies in for me, but
The Phillies are hot.
Yeah, and so are the Guardians. So I've got the Braves at 1, Rays at 2. 3 through 5 for me is pretty interchangeable. I've got the Cards at 3 because I'm kind of homing, but I've got the Brewers at 4, and then I've got the Yankees at 5.
Chase has it 1 Braves, 2 Dodgers, 3 Yankees, 4 Padres. I don't know how he still has the Padres in there, and 5 Brewers. Duties for last week. I'm going to go with the Washington Nationals left fielder, Dalen Lyle. Dude had a 385 batting average and a 370 on base percentage. Not that impressive, but an 885 slugging with 4 dingers and 10 ribbies for a good week for the left fielder for the Washington Nationals. Yeah, I thought I saw it all around performance at the bat and good defensively, no errors. So, Dalen Lyle, you're my duty of the week. Who was your duty?
Well, mine was going to be Chase's, but I knew that was going to be Chase's pick. So I'm going with away from the Cardinals. I'm going to go with right fielder Corbin Carroll for the Diamondbacks. Hit 421 this week with 2 bombs and had a 1502 OPS.
Pretty damn good week.
So, yeah.
Chasers, duty of the week is San Diego's Gavin. Apparently Holy is his nickname.
Gavin Holy Sheets, man.
Holy Sheets. He had a 625 average this week with a 739 on base percentage, 2.177 OPS, and 4 dingers. It was a great week for Holy Sheets.
I'm pretty sure he also walked off one of their games this week, too. He's already hit 4 walk-off bombs this year. It's like the most by any player, or this, like, at this time. It's some stupid stat where it's like the most any player's hit by before June or something.
Wow.
So it's a lot. He's hit 4 walk-off bombs, though, which is insane.
All right. The most valuable promotions card was an interesting one. By the way, I totally bet on Rubelas to Spain. I don't know why the hell I picked Junior Dos Santos in this, but we all did, and we all missed as he got absolutely slapped by the Karate Kid, Karate Man, 37-year-old. This card sucked. There was some entertaining aspects to it because, I mean, there were a couple of first-round knockouts. The Diaz fight was nuts, but I mean, UFC is just so much better. Saladin Parnas killed Kenneth Cross. Excuse me. I was the only one on Parnas. The rest of y'all were on Cross. Another first-round knockout. Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry was an absolute banger. Doctor stoppage on the cut.
Also, if I would have known that Mike Perry had a face tap, I would have picked him. Did not know that, so yeah.
Round 2 TKO for Mike Perry over Nate Diaz. Francis Ngannou, dude, with one of the nastiest knockouts I've ever seen. And Herb Dean was really ready to let him get some hammer punches in to finish. And Ngannou just stood there like, dude, I'm not touching him again. He's out.
Yeah. I can't. Herb, live it up to the dude's name.
Yeah. Herb till they're dead, Dean. We were all on Ngannou. We all hit on that. And then Ronda Rousey against Gina Carano. I was on Rousey. Luke and Chase were on Carano. It's like 17 seconds. Armbar sub. It looked fake. They were both smiling at the end. It was terrible. I mean, it was an embarrassment to MMA. Yeah, but hey, good for Ronda Rousey, I guess.
Yeah, no, this was terrible, and I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, I stayed to hang out with y'all. Definitely would have went home with my parents if I'd known that's how that would have ended.
No, 100%.
It was terrible.
It was terrible card. So 75 top 5 animated TV shows. I have definitely a very. You can tell I like a certain thing.
Yeah.
My number 1's American Dad. And the reason I like American Dad more than my number 2 is this character named Roger. All right. I'm a big Roger fan. Ricky Spanish. And there's more of a storyline to American Dad. I think there's more depth to all the characters in American Dad. And just it's more entertaining for me. I've seen every episode. So I've also seen episode of number 2, Family Guy. I love Family Guy. It's those are my 2 like brain rot shows. Like I'll just sit there and rot away on the couch and just watch. Love Family Guy. Number 3 is South Park. It's always up to date. Always take shots at people. I don't care who they're taking shots at. It's always funny. South Park's just great. Number 4 is a show I've actually just started watching. I'm into season 4 now. It's what I watch when I run. Futurama. I'm become a fan of Futurama. I think, Prime, Bender, all those characters are good. It entertains me. Number 5, I had to bring out a banger from the past. Phineas and Ferb is my favorite childhood animated show. So, and I would still watch it to this day. So Phineas and Ferb is my number 5. Luke, how do you have it?
Number 1 and 2 for me are totally interchangeable. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is going to be my number 1. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I think just some of these 2 shows for kids shows have insanely good writing in it with the stories and all that. But, I mean, getting to see how Anakin kind of becomes Anakin, the foreshadowing and all that stuff, how he becomes Darth Vader, getting Ahsoka, getting Rex.
I do love this show. I forgot about it.
Yeah, this show is such an amazing show, in my opinion. So that's why it's getting my 1. I mean, the season 7 literally have like 9.9 ratings on, or 9 ratings on like almost every episode. Number 2 is Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I do think story-wise is the best story out of a kid's show. I mean, the Zuko redemption arc is amazing. It is, I think, in my opinion, the most well-written, I'll say, cartoon character ever. I mean, or animated character ever. The redemption arc. Uncle Iroh is an inspirational genius. And then you obviously have Sokka. He doesn't, bend elements, but he's a backbender, brother.
And the music, man. Secret Tunnel.
Secret Tunnel's an absolute banger. I wish some days that I could never have seen my number 1 and 2 so I could watch them and experience them again for the first time. Then number 3 is going to be a newer show. They're getting a 2nd season coming up. It's X-Men 97. I love the X-Men. I love Wolverine. That's kind of why I'm a Michigan fan from when I was little, but I love Wolverine. I love Cyclops. Gambit is in this. Magneto's in it. It is a great show. I loved watching the show. I really enjoyed it. Then I'm gonna throw a blast from the past. Is one of my favorite anime shows was either this or Fairy Odd Parents. And,
I love Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah.
And I love Johnny Test. Me, Edward, Joe, we watched this whole thing like 4 or 5 times. I mean, Johnny Test is amazing. I mean, the sisters are awesome. He's awesome. And then I can't think of the dog's name, and it's kind of pissing me off, but the dog was awesome. It's just such a great show. And then number 5, only because I have not seen as much of it, but it is hilarious. I'm going to go with South Park. Shout out Kyle. And like every day, once I'm probably month at work, me and this guy go up, like we'll just walk by and somebody will go, "Did you know China and Japan are 2 different countries?" No. And like quote that whole scene. So that is why South Park is my 5.
All right. Chase has it number 1, Family Guy. Number 2, South Park. Number 3, Star Wars Clone Wars. Number 4, The Jetsons. And number 5, SpongeBob. So those are.
I want to say the only way I watch American Dad is when there's some Subway Surfer on top.
TikTok. Got it. Top 5 animated shows from your boys at Sweet Summer Sports. Things that happened this weekend as we conclude every first episode of the week. My number 1 was golf. Played golf Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, just my dad for 9. Saturday, 18 with this guy named Colby Cox, former long snapper in Memphis. Very fun. And then Sunday with my dad, Luke's dad, and his youngest brother. Very entertaining, very fun this weekend. Number 2 is Saturday night. Cards. The reason I didn't put the cards there is they didn't exactly deliver, but I always enjoy hanging out with the boys. We had some poutine, watched the Canadians get crushed. That was, other than the games and the cards, it was really fun. And then number 3 was Jerry's. I just don't go as often as I probably should. But whenever Chloe's in town, I take her to Jerry's, and it hits every time. So
it does.
Luke, what happened this weekend?
Yeah. My number 1 is poutine. I've never had poutine. And
welcome, brother.
I guarantee you it's way better in Canada, but the American Chloe and Will version, I can definitely see why it's called poutine. But no, it was good. I was actually genuinely shocked. I mean, it's just cheese, fries, and gravy, but I mean, it's pretty good. And then my number 2 is gonna be tarps.
Oh, dude, yeah, tarps off. Yeah,
I caught every game from this weekend, and the Friday game I only caught like the 8th plus because I was at the Michael movie. But I mean, that crowd was electric. The crowd on Saturday was awesome. Like the crowd on Sunday, they were down 2-0 in the 9th. You would have thought they were up 5. I mean, they were still engaged. Shout out to the SFA Club baseball team. Getting the boys, taking your shirts off. If they have a tarp section in October, I will be there taking my shirt off, even if it's 30 degrees. And then my number 3 is going to be the Michael movie. I saw it on Friday. It's such a good movie. I mean, that man's aura is just off the freaking charts. If there was one person, dead or alive, I'd want to go see in concert, it would be him. So, yeah, no, it was a great movie. The man has aura. So those are my best things from the weekend.
All right, I'm going to try to decipher Chase's here. Neymar World Cup ! I guess Neymar's playing in the World Cup.
Wow.
Holy Sheets. Gavin Sheets. Walk off and having a great week. And then I guess he went and saw the Michael movie in the IMAX. So
I think I'm assuming again.
Yeah,
so,
he ran it back at the IMAX. So good for you, Chase.
That probably sounded amazing.
Yeah,
it probably sounded so cool. So yeah.
That'll conclude episode 63 of Swiss Army Sports until sometime later this week where I could be here on the episode from the beach. It could be just Luke and Chase.
It might be a weird episode.
Could be Luke. We'll find out. Stay tuned. Until then, though, have a good night. Oh, it's going to be a weird episode.